Hey, what's going on everyone? My name's Awe and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be talking about why it is absolutely crucial we respond to the climate crisis today and set the foundation for what's coming on this channel. 2020 was an absolutely unprecedented year because we saw COVID-19 change the world. The global crisis affected everyone. However, it especially harmed vulnerable communities. This fact was made even more prominent due to the Black Lives Matter protests across the world, putting a spotlight on equity issues in every aspect of our lives. It is not false to say that international and national level crises reveal and even exacerbate the disparities in our societies, and like I said, especially for the most vulnerable communities. We're still in the thick of COVID, even though we're already a year in, but we still see these inequities even with the vaccine rollout. These disparities are not random. Rather, they're built over time and meant to uphold the underlying socioeconomic caste system in this country. What I'm trying to say here is that disparities in our society lead to worse conditions for vulnerable populations during widespread crises. We will get past COVID, we have a vaccine, but there's a bigger crisis on the horizon. Actually, it's not even on the horizon because it's here now, and this is the climate crisis. Our excessive greenhouse gas emissions over the last century put us in this position today. Recently, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, or IPCC for short, released a climate report with the following 5 takeaways. But the one I want to highlight here is that a vast majority of damage, at least for the next 30 years, has been done, and we are now going to be facing those consequences. This is a national and international level crisis. And what do we know about those? They exacerbate the disparities in our society. The climate crisis is causing extreme heat, sea level rise leading to more flooding, changes to precipitation patterns, more droughts and heat waves leading to more wildfires, and stronger hurricanes and storms. The sucky thing with climate impacts is that we cannot just make a vaccine to protect ourselves against it. The climate crisis is going to be expensive. We're going to need to spend wisely to mitigate their effects while curbing it at its source. Without doing so, the crisis is not going to be just bad for our society, but it's going to be exponentially worse for the most vulnerable members of our society. So that's what I'm doing here today and on this channel. I want us to look closely at 2 things. First, I want to explore climate impacts and how they can and will disproportionately harm the most vulnerable communities in our society. Second, explore infrastructural systems, aspects of the built environment meant to keep us safe, and ask how they can and are inequitable towards the most vulnerable communities in our society. This second one is important because infrastructure is not just the foundation for our society, but it will be one of the key systems enabling us to respond to the climate crisis. If we let our infrastructure systems fail now, when we need them in the future, they won't be able to support us. The goal of these 2 explorations is firstly to build our awareness for climate impacts and overall intersectional environmentalism. Second, build our understanding of the critical role that infrastructure plays in fighting the impacts of climate change in the long term. And third, I want to spur action and conversation about the physical makeup of our society. Like I said at the start, international and national level crises uncover and exacerbate the disparities in our society, especially across the most vulnerable communities. However, we don't have to wait for these crises to happen before we respond. It is essential we anticipate and respond now. And all of this starts with arming ourselves with information and engaging in discussion to make the best decisions possible. Whether this be politically with tools like carbon pricing, or socially by elevating the use of transit systems, or economically by making strategic investments now. Our actions still matter. According to the IPCC, rapid change and cooperation can still limit the worst impacts of climate change in the long run, so it's not too late. Let's engage in conversation together and work to build a more equitable future. And I'll be starting off with a discussion and conversation on extreme heat and what that looks like in our cities and societies today and in the future. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you all soon. Peace.